Tank Davis is stepping into the ring, but not against the guy you expected. And that could be a big problem. Gervonta Tank Davis, undefeated. A human wrecking ball with dynamite in both hands. And then there's Lamont Roach, a talented, crafty fighter, but not exactly a name you'd expect to be mentioned in the same breath as Tank. But here we are, and if you think this fight is a joke, you might want to stick around, because what I'm about to tell you could change the way you look at this matchup forever. Alright, let's be real. When you hear Tank Davis fight announcement, you expect a war. You expect the kind of fight that makes headlines, that sends shockwaves through the sport. Maybe a Haney, maybe a Shakur, maybe even a rematch with Garcia. But Lamont Roach? That's not exactly a name that makes fans jump out of their seats. And yet, if you know boxing, if you really know boxing, then you know that this could be a trap fight waiting to happen. Because sometimes the fights that look like a mismatch end up being the ones that shock the world. When I first saw this fight announcement, I had one reaction. Huh? But then I looked closer. And man, things got interesting. Gervonta Davis is a finisher. Not just a puncher, he's a closer. The kind of fighter who turns your lights out the moment you make a mistake. Just ask Leo Santa Cruz. Just ask Ryan Garcia. Just ask Rolly Romero. He's patient, calculated, and once he sees an opening, it's over. The power he carries is absurd. Like, put you to sleep in one shot absurd. He boasts a 96% knockout ratio, with 27 KOs in his 29 professional wins. That's a terrifying stat for any opponent. And that's what makes this matchup so interesting. Because Lamont Roach, he's not a guy who gives up openings easily. Roach is a smart, disciplined boxer. He's the kind of fighter who thrives on making his opponents frustrated, forcing them into mistakes. And that's exactly the kind of opponent who can make a puncher like Tank work for his victory. But here's the thing. Roach has never faced anyone like Tank before. Not even close. And when you step up to that level, it's a whole different world. Now, Tank has power, but let's not forget he's more than just a slugger. His ring IQ is dangerously high. Watch his knockouts, and you'll see they aren't wild, desperate swings. They're setups. Tank lures his opponents into traps, gets them comfortable, and bam, game over. And the scary part? He's getting better. Now, we know this fight wasn't on anybody's wish list, so why is it happening? Well, the answer is simple. Boxing politics. Tank is the WBA lightweight champion. And Lamont Roach? He just won the WBA super featherweight title. And the way sanctioning bodies work, sometimes belts take precedence over blockbuster fights. And let's not forget, Tank hasn't fought since last April, and the man needs to stay active. And Roach, this is an opportunity of a lifetime. You don't turn down a fight with Tank Davis. You take your shot and you hope to shock the world. But let's be real. Does he actually have a shot? Roach is talented, but he's never been in with an opponent who hits like a sledgehammer. And beyond the power, the pressure. Fighting Tank Davis is an experience unlike any other. The moment you step into that ring, you're not just dealing with punches. You're dealing with the weight of the moment, the noise, the lights, the expectation that you're about to get knocked out. Not everyone is built for that. Now, I know what you're thinking. Tank is gonna steamroll this dude. And listen, I get it. On paper, it looks like a massacre waiting to happen. But let me hit you with something. Every once in a while, we see a fight that just shouldn't happen the way it does. Buster Douglas versus Tyson. Andy Ruiz versus Joshua. Marquez versus Pacquiao. If Roach is going to win this fight, he has to do everything perfectly. He needs to box Tank like his life depends on it. First, he has to control the distance. Tank is short, stocky, and loves to explode into range. Roach has to use his jab like a force field. Keep Tank on the outside and never let him get comfortable. Second, he needs to move. Tank is a pressure fighter, but he's also patient. If Roach gets caught standing still, he's done. He needs to constantly change angles, never letting Tank set his feet. And most importantly, he has to avoid that one mistake. Because with Tank, that's all it takes. One misstep, one mistimed movement, 1 second of hesitation, and it's lights out. Now imagine this. It's round 10 and Roach is still standing. Tank's frustration grows. Could Roach actually steal a decision? If Roach finds a way to outbox, frustrate, and survive Tank's power, it would be one of the biggest upsets in boxing history. We're talking Buster Douglas level of shock. The kind of win that could turn Roach into a household name overnight. And for Tank, well, it would be devastating. Because when you build your entire brain on being the guy, on being the knockout artist, the moment you lose, everything changes. Now, is it likely? No. But is it possible? Well, in boxing, anything is possible. If Tank wins, he stays at the top and keeps his momentum rolling. But does this fight really prove anything? Will the critics still demand bigger fights against Haney or Shakur? Absolutely. The pressure will only build for him to take on elite names next. And if Roach wins, oh boy. The world of boxing flips upside down. Suddenly, every major fighter at 130 and 135 will be calling him out. He'll go from underdog to the hunted overnight. So what do you think? Is this just another easy payday for Tank? Or does Roach have something up his sleeve that we're all overlooking? Drop your predictions in the comments. Who wins? How? And does this fight even deserve to exist? Oh, and if you love deep dive breakdowns like this, I've got another crazy fight analysis right here. Trust me, you don't want to miss it. And if you haven't already, hit that subscribe button. We break down fights like no one else. And you don't want to miss what's coming next. Thanks for watching. We'll see you again when the dust settles on the canvas.